Welcome students to the thorough comprehensive revision of the 10th chapter. It is the human eye and the colorful world. This chapter is obviously related to physics, and here basically we'll be looking at two sections. The first section is dealing with the function of the eye. How is the eye able to see objects? To put it more straightforward, what is the physics behind the formation of image in the eye? That's the first section. So that is the physics of vision. We can call it the physics of vision. And the second part basically deals with some interesting aspects of light and the physics related to it. For example, the formation of a rainbow. How does the white light split? And we all know that when the sky is quite clear, the color is blue. So what are the reasons? What is the reason behind the blue color of the sky? So these are the aspects which we'll be dealing with in this particular chapter, the 10th chapter. The blue color of the sky. So let's begin with, in a manner, the most important, one of the most important organs of the human body. That's the organ which enables us to see the objects, to see the world around us. And the human eye quite looks like this. So let's look at each part. What are its functions? So let's look at the structures of the human eye. So you can see that it's a bulge structure. It's something like a cavity, and on the front portion is a remarkably transparent area. It's something like protrudes outside, in the sense that if you there will be something like a socket. That's the skull socket, and the eye. This is a part which actually protrudes out, which means that is something like bulging out. That's a part which we see. And when we look at that particular area, the first thing is there's a very, very thin membrane. This is a very thin membrane, and we call it the cornea. So this thin membrane, the outermost membrane, transparent membrane, it's a part which is bulged out. It is called the cornea. Now, it's through the cornea the light rays and enters the eye. Now, this eyeball is quite spherical in shape, and its average diameter, the usual diameter, so the average diameter of the eye is around 2.3 centimeters. So we covered the cornea. Now, does this cornea have any important function? It indeed has a very important function. The light rays which enter the cornea undergoes a refraction. So understand that if we look at this portion, so this is a cornea. So we can see that that bulge section is basically meant to draw in the or to pull in the maximum amount of light. So this is how the refraction happens. So that's the point about cornea. So the function of cornea is that it's the area where the light rays get refracted, and it's channeled to the inside of the eye. Now, just behind that region, there's a cavity, and this cavity is filled with a kind of a jelly-like something which looks like something similar to some rice water or stuff like that. It's called aqueous humor. So the part, the cavity behind the cornea, it's a portion in front of the lens. There's a cavity, and the cavity is filled with a jelly-like substance called aqueous humor, and you have another jelly-like substance inside. In the bigger cavity, and that is called vitreous humor. So you have note the points. You have aqueous humor in front of the lens. So behind the lens, you have the vitreous humor. Now, there is a portion in front of the this dark portion in front of the lens, and it's a diaphragm like thing, a kind of a stretched membrane, and this portion is what is called the iris. So the dark portion, when you look at a person, you can see, so if this is the eye, if this is front of the eye, you can see something like a roundish dark area, and you can see something like a kind of a vacant hole like stuff in the middle. And so this dark area is what is called the iris. And this so the opening of the iris, so the part of the iris which is having an opening, that part, obviously that opening is meant to draw in the light which is coming from the cornea, and that part is called the pupil. So this part is called the pupil. So pupil is the aperture or the vacant part. It's a part through which the light enters and falls on the lens. So not that part. So that's about the front part of the lens, and of course you have some muscles over here which we call the ciliary muscles, and it's the ciliary muscles which actually control the nature of the crystalline lens. Nature of the lens, what is meant by the nature of the lens, which means that this is a wonderful part of the eye, which this lens can be stretched a little, which simply means that the lens has a power to change the focal length by its own. This property we'll be covering a little later. It's called accommodation. So once again, you have the front cornea through which the light rays are refracted and comes inside. Just behind the cornea you have the vitreous humor. There is a dark portion called the iris, a diaphragmatic portion, which has a kind of a hole-like thing, an area through which the light enters, which is called the pupil. So that's a part about the front bulge area of the eye. So if you are asked what is the function of pupil, the pupil obviously regulates and controls the amount of light which is entering the eye, which simply means that if you are in a dark room, it means that the pupil will dilate to let in more light. If you are in a bright place, the pupil will be less dilated, which means that that much, because of a lot of light rays coming inside, there's no need for the pupil to have a bigger kind of area for the light to enter. So that's the function of the pupil. Now let's go on to the most important part of the human eye, and that's you can call it a biological optical sense. So you have the light rays which is coming in, and they fall to an area which is inside the major portion of the eye, where the vitreous humor, you see the vitreous humor, and this particular area is what is called the retina. And in the retina we have a lot of light sensitive cells. So you have the retina. So if this is the inside of the eye, so the light falls here, and you have a lot of cells. Here which are photosensitive, which means light sensitive. So retina is an area where you find a lot of light sensitive cells, and this, as the light falls on these cells, there is a biochemical reaction which causes the formation of electrical signals. So there are nerves going to the brain. Basically this bundle of nerve is what is called optic nerve, and the electrical signals are generated, and these signals are carried to the optical center of the brain. So this is carried to the optical center of the brain, where the brain processes the image formed on the retina, and it's by this processing in the brain, you are able to understand an object. So you get to know what an object is. Suppose you are seeing a tree, you get to know it's a tree by this process. So to conclude this particular section dealing with the function of the human eye, I mean the physics involved in formation of image, what kind of image is formed as far as the human is concerned, and it's a, so the type of image which is formed is inverted and real. So the image which is the image of the object which gets formed on the retina is inverted and real. So not that point, it's inverted and real. Thanks.